Hello my students in grade 8, hope you all are doing well. This is Miss Mary and today we will complete solving the revision sheets. Last video we have finished until question 66, so in this video we will start from 67 and this is the third video. You have two videos on the YouTube channel for the school, so let's start with question 67. Evidence of common ancestors can be found in what and living organisms? The evidence for common ancestors, we found it in fossils and living organisms. Question 68. Insects surviving an attack by insecticides are more likely to have offspring who are insecticide. If you remember, we said that by using insecticides, they become more resistant to the insecticide because they change the DNA and genetic material. So we will write here resistant. Question 69. Farmers and animal breeders choose to breed animals with desirable traits in a process known selective breeding. And this selective breeding to ensure that the offspring will have good traits in the desirable traits. When an organism with a gene that helps it survive and reproduce actually reproduces, the process of what occurs? If you remember that when the organism that the best adapted organisms when they survive and reproduce, we call this natural selection. Next question. Mating animals so their offspring will inherit desired traits. Mating animals by people, this is called selective breeding. 72. Slow changes in populations over time are known as the slowly changes in population. This is called evolution. 73. A group that can mate and have fertile offspring. The group or organisms that they are the same kind and they can reproduce. This is called species. The time between one generation of offspring and the next generation. This is called generation time. 75. Members of a species who live in the same place. Organisms of the same species, they live together, like group of zebras together or group of lions together, they make a population. The history of life shown by remains of once living organisms is the fossil record. It shows us all the fossils over the history of the earth. Next question. A positively charged particle in the nucleus of an atom. The positively charged inside the nucleus, they are protons. Yes. 78. An atom of an element that has the same number of protons but different number of neutrons. When two atoms have the same number of protons in different number of neutrons, we call this isotopes. The region in an atom that contains most of the mass of the atom is the center of the atom, is nucleus. The number of protons in an atom determines its, yes, the number of proton is the atomic number. 81. The weighted average of all the naturally isotopes of an element is called the mass or the weight of the different isotopes. This is called atomic mass. And let's go to the next question. Question 82. The smallest particle into which an element can be divided and still be the same substance. This is, of course, atom, the smallest particle in the element. Next question, 83. Thomson discovered the negatively charged particle called. Thomson discovered the electron. Yes. 84. Rutherford believed that each atom has what in its center? Rutherford, do you remember when he made the experiment of the gold foil? He discovered the center of the atom, which is the nucleus. The current atomic theory includes the what model? Yeah, the current atomic or modern atomic theory includes the electron cloud model, or that electrons move around the nucleus in a region called electron cloud. All substances are made of Yes, atoms. 87. Isotopes always have the same number of. The isotopes have the same number of protons but different number of neutrons. So the answer will be protons. Most elements have a mixture of 2 or more. Yes, isotopes. Like for example carbon 12, carbon 13, like uranium, they have different isotopes. So most elements, they have different isotopes. Protons stay together in the nucleus because of the strong force between protons together. As we know that protons, they have positive charge, and positive usually they repel. But because of the strong force in the center of the atom, which is a nucleus, we call this strong force. Objects are pulled toward one another. Any two objects, they come together or they pulled toward each other by gravitational force. Like the Earth and us, we are pulled together by gravitational force. So also inside the atom, any two particles, they have gravitational force in between, but actually the gravitational force inside the atom is very, very small, because gravitational force depends on the mass of the object. When the object has more mass, they have more gravitational force between them. Like for example the Earth and the Moon, they are big, so they have a lot of gravitational force, but electrons and together they are very small, so the gravitational force between them very small. So the answer for this, gravitational force. Electrons around the nucleus are held in place by electrons are held by electromagnetic force. Next question, 92. In 1803, John Dalton proposed that all substances are made of, yes, atoms. In 1897, the British scientist Gr8 Thomson discovered what? The negatively charged particle in the atom. As we said before, Gr8 Thomson discovered the electrons, and he represented them by plums. 20th century, scientists believed electrons are found in region called. Nowadays, in the 20th century, the scientists, they believe that electrons are found in a region called electron cloud. 95 neutrons and what? Each have a mass about 1 EMU. The neutrons and what? Each have a mass of 1 EMU. Neutrons and the protons. 96 is the pushes and pulls between objects. Anything that push or pull is a kind of force. So forces. 97, because their mass is so small, what are not included in atoms in mass number? The only thing that we don't include in the mass number is the mass of the electrons, because it's very small. 98, isotopes have different number of, yes, neutrons. 99, atoms that are what of each other are always the same element. Atoms that are isotopes of each other are always the same element. Like isotopes, we said they have the same atomic number, they are the same element. 100, charged particle is called a ion. When the atom loses or gains electrons, they change to positive charge or negative charges atom. We call them ion. Okay, so in normal cases, atoms lose electrons. If they have in the outer shell less than 4 electrons, they lose, and if they have more than 4 electrons in the outer shell, they gain electron. And in both cases, they change their charge, so the atom becomes negative charge in case of gaining or positive charge in case of losing, and in the two ways we call them ions. Next question, 101. The sum of protons and neutrons in an atom is called, yes, atomic mass. The sum of protons and neutrons in an atom, yes, we call them mass number. 102. Around 440 BCE, Democritus proposed the idea of what? A particle that could not be cut in half. The first one who proposed about the atom was Democritus, and he said atom, it means not dividable. In 1911, Ernest Rutherford proposed that each atom has what? A tiny, extremely dense, positively charged region. Rutherford, he was the first one to discover the center of the atom, which has positive charge and is called, yes, nucleus. 104. Most of the atom's mass is found in the, yes, in the nucleus. Yes, we will choose it again. Because the nucleus, as we said before, it carries the protons and the neutrons, and both of them, they have mass equal 1 AMU, but the electrons outside the nucleus, and they are very light, and we consider their mass neglected. Question 105. All atoms of an element have the same? Yes, they have the same atomic number, which is the number of protons. Next, question 106. A hydrogen atom with 1 proton in its nucleus has what of 1? Also has atomic number 1, because the atomic number is a number of protons, so we will choose atomic number one more time. Next, question 107. When something is what? It occurs or repeats at regular intervals. When something repeats regularly, we call this periodic. Mendeleev's table became known as the periodic table of the, yes, the elements. As we know that Mendeleev, he was the first scientist to arrange elements. He arranged elements but by their atomic mass, not by their atomic number, as Moseley did. 109. All of the more than 3 elements discovered since 1914 follow the, yes, the periodic law. 110. Properties such as conductivity and reactivity change gradually from left to right in each. As you remember, we said that in each period the properties change from left to right gradually. This is called during the period, within a period. 111. A family is also called, as you remember, the family also is a column. We call it group, yes, and they share the same physical and chemical properties. 112. Because they are so reactive, metals are found only combined with other elements in nature. Do you remember the group of elements? We said that they are very reactive metals, and that's why we store them in oil. Yes, this was the first group in the periodic table, and we call them alkali metals like sodium, lithium, potassium. 113. The elements in group 3, from 3 to 12, the middle of the periodic table, the huge block in the middle of the periodic table, yes, we call them transition metals. Okay, so from the next time we will complete solving the revision sheet, and we will start in the next time with short answers. So remember, we stopped at question 113. Take care of yourselves and see you in the next video. Bye bye.